morning, sports fans. As more sports back in your business. Well, we got a special treat today, folks. Courtesy of your friend Jimmy, who has ordered a couple of very nice boxes from my online store, hotcardboard.com, and requested that I open them on a video. So that is what we are doing today. I actually believe there is one more box that Jimmy has ordered for an order to be opened on the channel here. So special thanks to Jimmy, who's given us some modern, not super modern. This stuff is 2019, so it's now 6 years old. But some fun hobby products to open up as a nice little change of pace after a very long break in kind of modern sports card content, at least of the hobby variety. So if anybody's interested in having something similar done for an item that you would like to order, just order up what you want on hotcardboard.com and then send me an email, info@hotcardboard.com, which usually is in the description for all my videos. Alright, let's talk about what we've got here. So it's funny, I've been noticing a couple of these kind of getting ordered on my site, and I don't know if maybe I'm underpriced, or maybe there's something in here that's kind of popping off right now. But I did think to myself not too long ago that this is probably like one of the very earliest products that had Bobby Witt Jr. autographs in it. His first Bowman cards were in 2020 Bowman. And sometimes Elite Extra Edition from Panini. That's what this is, Elite Extra Edition. Sometimes Elite Extra Edition has, players in it, a year before any Topps product has the player in it. So, I know that was true of, I think Vladimir Guerrero Jr., his stuff was in, I'm trying to think, was it 2015? Or maybe it was 2016 his stuff was in, and then Elite Extra Edition he was in a year before, 2015. I might be off a bit on those years, but I think the same was true of, what's his name, the guy who used to play Gleyber Torres. God, where is that guy now? So anyways, looking for Bobby Witt, probably I'm sure a few other interesting names in this product. There's 8 autographs and 2 memorabilia cards in these boxes. These, I feel like, I can't remember if these are hobby boxes or if they are, I think these are hobby boxes. They also make these things called longevity boxes, which I don't know what the hell that means, but, I think they have, something like 5 autos or 4 autos instead of 8. But, anyways, here we go. 2019 Elite Extra Edition. Very interested to see the names that come out of here. Since it's been many years since I've opened this stuff on a video. But I think I have opened it before. So you get 5 packs. We'll do them in order here. And thanks once again to Jimmy for giving us some goodies to get into here. Alright, how do we want to... I do see there's an auto right off the bat. Well, let's just... Alright, Kyle Stowers, number 2. 75. And our first auto is one of these international player autos, which often are guys that never really materialize in the majors, or in the big leagues, or in the, how shall we say, professional major and minor leagues. But I feel like I've actually heard of this guy having Bowman cards. John Diaz. I might be wrong, but Dominican Prospect League is where he's playing as of this thing. So if he did show up in a Bowman product, it might have been a couple of of years later, since that's a very young league, I imagine, or a young player league. Alright, our first of, I think, two memorabilia cards. We've got Kevin Smith, number 2, 199. And there's a good name, at least he was. I don't know what Josh Young is up to these days, but he was with the Rangers, I believe, and then had a really nice year that the Rangers won the World Series, if I recall. Unfortunately, that's just a base card, not numbered. And then we got a Moises Gomez. So you noticed every card in here but one is numbered. So that's kind of how Elite Extra Edition generally rolls. Tons of numbered cards, but not a lot of value for, you know, a numbered card to 199 or something like that. If it's an auto of a good player, it's numbered to like 10 or 20 or something, then you're in business. But otherwise, the numbering is almost kind of irrelevant. Ooh, so there's Adley Rutschman. I'm looking for evidence of an autograph, but I don't see it. I think this is just a base card or maybe a numbered card. It is numbered to 999. I'm not sure what Adley Rutschman is up to these days. Obviously, he was a huge name a couple of years ago when he was coming up in his first couple seasons. But it's funny, I remember having this conversation with somebody like earlier this season about like where all these like huge stars like Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, what's his name, the young kid, Holiday, Jackson Holiday, where all these guys were, you know. And somebody who was an Orioles fan told me, yeah, that everybody's kind of shit in the bed this year. So that was early in the season. I don't know how everybody's doing now, but hopefully better. So here's a pretty low numbered card to 49, Luis Matos for the Giants. Looks like we got a USA card, and it's one of our autos, Patrick Bailey. I'm not familiar with him, but I would imagine he would have gotten drafted shortly after this card if he was playing on the USA baseball team, probably out of college. Yeah, NC State. But yeah, I don't know. I've not heard anything about this guy. This is not a numbered card either. So that's a bit of a bummer, but it's not a pitcher, so call that a win. And another auto, we've got Melfrin Sosa, also from that Dominican Prospect League, and a David Parkinson, number 2, 250. So yeah, getting quite a few of these like international prospect cards, which sometimes can be cool because again, you can get a card very early of a player. But also, on average, those international prospect autos are going to be pretty crappy. Just because there's so many kind of nameless, faceless players in those leagues that won't really ever get into the pros in the U.S. Or at least they won't get far. Alright, I see an auto right behind this. There's Tommy Henry, number 2, 75. Wow, another Dominican Prospect League, Emmanuel Rodriguez. And, oh wow, that's a cool one. Right behind it we have a Bobby Witt Jr. patch card. Unfortunately, it's not autographed. It is number 2, 452, and it is a USA themed card, but I think he has cards in here that are not USA baseball themed. So we'll be on the hunt for those, but that's pretty cool. Number to 452, very high numbered card, but definitely the right name to get. Probably the only good name we've seen so far. Joel Pagero, number 2, 999, and Matt Cronin, number 2, 999 as well. All right, two packs left to go for the Elite Extra Edition. We do have one good name so far. That other USA baseball card seems like it could have been decent, but I feel like I would have heard of that guy by now. Although honestly, I've not been following like the draft classes of the last few years, so it's possible. I just have not heard of the guy, even though he's good. Gabriel Maciel, number 2, 125, and then we've got an auto coming up behind that. All right, Bo Phillip with his Oregon State University Triziano. This is kind of an interesting card. It's not like like glossy at all. It's kind of like a matte finish, even though it's a foil. If that makes any sense. Oh, and we do have points, and I need to make sure I don't show that because I'm pretty sure that code on the front is used to redeem. And then this is my favorite thing. I do keep these, of course. That is the one reason I run this channel, is because I like those spacers more than should be legal. But let me just take that points card off the screen. Actually, it's funny. I think it's it's the code on the back that has the points. But just to be safe, I'm gonna cut. I think the QR code on the front just brings you to the app in the App Store. So we got 150 points there, I presume, in place of an auto, which, I don't know, isn't a terrible deal, because it's probably better than getting a, no-name international prospect or a pitcher, right? Zephyr Hahn to 999 and an unnumbered Shea Langoliers. Once upon a time, Shea Langoliers was a pretty dang solid name in the prospect game, but he has not done much that I'm aware of anyways in the major leagues, and so I'm sure his cards are kind of worth about nothing right now. Alright, last pack. I am not keeping track of how many autos we have, but hopefully we've got one in here. I do see a thick card that is going to be, it is going to be a jersey card at least. Andrew Vaughn, he was another guy that was a pretty big prospect back when he was coming up in like 2019, I think. 2020, so like about the time this product came out, he actually had some pretty good seasons in Chicago, and I feel like he might have gotten traded after a couple seasons, but I'm not sure. You Chicago White Sox fans will have to let me know. Alright, another international prospect, number 250, there's Miguel Tamares. Okay, we did get an auto. It's Gilberto Jimenez. Another one of these foil cards that is unnumbered, and looks like he plays for Boston, but I have not heard. Alright, so oh man, there's Graham Stinson to 150. So Davy Garcia, once upon a time, was a very promising young pitcher prospect for the Yankees, and he kind of did okay. I think they sort of brought him up in a relief role. In the first couple years, he was with the big league team, but they kind of just kept sort of sending him down. I don't know that he ever got any significant opportunity. He might have liked on spot starts, to fill in for injured, players in the rotation or something like that. But he never really kind of got brought up or started a season as a starter, if I recall. And then I think he just sort of dwindled off, probably got traded somewhere. And now is, a long-distant memory for Yankee fans. But yeah, he was a big deal for a while there. I had some of his Bowman first autos, and those are, I'm sure, worth absolutely nothing. So we did kind of get skunked here. I don't know if this set really has anybody other than Bobby Witt Jr. It's entirely possible, but there are so many, kind of young players that just don't go anywhere, and they are the autos that often you see most frequently in products like this, or in like, Prism Draft baseball or something like that. So that was fun to see, and always nice to get like 1,000 numbered cards. And we did get one of the hits as a Bobby Witt, so that's, I think, a win. But yeah, definitely tough to make your money back on a box like that unless you get an auto of Bobby Witt or any of the other top players that may or may not be in there. All right, so let's get on to the main event here. We've got a Topps Allen and Ginter X box. So this is a special box that only is available when you ordering directly from Topps. Once upon a time, I used to try to get these, when they became available for sale, but I sort of stopped doing that. I think like maybe 2020 was the last year I did that. And I don't know how easy they are to get these days. Topps does use a system to, kind of combat bots, at least theoretically. So it may be possible to pick up some of these, and they may frankly just price it high enough that there's not a lot of competition these days, but I don't know, I haven't tried in quite a few years, so this was maybe the last year I bought a significant amount of this stuff, and I actually think I bought a lot of this in the aftermarket. So, in any event, here we are, 2019. I believe there is 2 autos in this stuff, if I recall, but I feel like they don't actually, like, say, you know, any kind of guaranteed number, but my recollection from opening this is that there's at least one, but I sort of recall 2 years. Now, this has redemptions in it, and it's over 2 years. So if you get a redemption auto in here, it's going to be bad news. Sometimes Topps will honor a redemption if they have it. Other times they will give you something, you know, in exchange that probably sucks. And I think for like 2023 and newer products, Topps has a policy of basically a 10-year redemption. So only products before then have this problem of, you know, well, invalid redemptions. Unfortunately, this is in that range, so we're hoping for no redemptions. Alright, good luck to Jimmy on these. It's been a while since I've opened a hobby box of baseball cards, I think anyways. I'm always very happy to do it for a customer. Okay, here we go. Babe Ruth, Brandon Drury, JT Realmuto, Halladay, Acuna, Bo Jackson, Paul Molitor, Hall of Famer. So my, you know, recollection of opening this stuff, I've opened quite a few, maybe not quite a few, but probably 3 boxes of this stuff in 2019, and I think maybe a couple of boxes of it in 2018. And my recollection was that the autos often are like numbered, and they're pretty low numbered, just because this product does, you know, it's not a super overprinted product. And the autos that are in it are just for this product, so I think they tend to have pretty good numbering. So we can see on the box here, a Trout auto, a Judge auto. Those would certainly be nice. Martinez in a Yankees jersey. Love it. Love to see it. I do like these wrappers. They're like plastic, but they're kind of like this matte finish, so they don't make a ton of noise. Kikuchi, New Yankee, Bellinger, Jeter. Oh, this is the girl from American Pickers, the TV show. So for those of you unfamiliar with Allen and Ginter, Topps every year puts kind of a slate of non-baseball players, and those could be athletes from other sports, but more frequently they're like, you know, actors, musicians, kind of TV celebrities. Could be like sort of social media stars. So sometimes those cards can be, you know, really sought after. Especially if they're of a popular, you know, person that doesn't really have any other kind of picture cards available anywhere. So Gary Vaynerchuk was in, I think he was in like 2018. There's a Walker Buehler now with, I think, the Red Sox. terms of rookies, we're looking for Pete Alonso, Tatis, and this guy, right on cue, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. who I think signed an extension with the Blue Jays. Okay, we got something. Yeah, so this coming up is an auto, and it's a mini card encased in a regular sized card. So let's see what we get. Oh, man, golly. Well, it's kind of fun for me because I'm a Yankees fan, but it's not fun probably for anybody else, and probably not even most Yankees fans. So this is Luke Voigt, and he played a couple of years on the Yankees, and there's definitely a time when his stuff was very valuable because he went on like a home run tear on his first year with the Yankees, coming from the Cardinals. He's this big, sort of beefy looking first baseman who definitely had some pop, and I feel like it was that 2020 shortened season where like he went off, and he might have like led the AL in home runs that year, if I recall. I don't know if he didn't by the end of the year. I think he did at some point during the year, but yeah, it's a cool looking auto. It's a silver auto. It's numbered to 25, and it's absolutely worthless, unfortunately, because this guy's playing like slow pitch softball in Cleveland somewhere. So it's got a fun story, and man, I hate that it's somebody who's so kind of like washed at this point. But it's still better than pitcher, unless it's like Verlander. Dang, it's cool though to get a silver auto number to 25. Gosh, I was hoping that was gonna be like Jeter or something when I saw the Yankee hat. Gosh. Well, there's a Tatis rookie. We'll sleeve that one up. Probably go grab that Guerrero one too. At this point, Guerrero is kind of, he's doing pretty good. He's definitely a solid ball player, but he's not nearly as popular hobby-wise as he was, when he was just getting started, and people thought maybe he's the next, Babe Ruth or something. But Pete Alonso is actually having a very good year this year, and he just, signed a big contract with the Mets, and the Mets are starting a little comeback after a very dismal start to the season. So that's half the box. I'm really hoping we get another auto, but it might just be one. So yeah, my recollection, I think, is accurate that a lot of the autos in this product are going to be numbered, and often low numbered. Donnie Baseball, love to see that guy. Anytime at all, I'll take a Donnie Baseball. Beautiful cards always of him. DJ LeMahieu was released midway through the season. First Tiger Mask. Very strange. So, I've said this many times before, but my interest in modern sports cards has really been, these freaking drop every time. These minis has really been waning. And I tell you what, I just do not spend much time at all, if any, on kind of like, figuring out what new products to buy. I'm sure there is money to be made in doing that, trying to, for example, pick up like some of the Sapphire products. If you get the right ones, they can definitely, double in price from what Topps sells them for. But yeah, like my distributor lost, Topps products back, basically shortly after Fanatics bought the company, because Fanatics really, wants to do all of they want to be their own distributor. They want to sell directly to card shops, and unfortunately they they do sell to online shops, but you have to be a breaker, and you have to like have some minimum number of like hours per week that you spend breaking. So unfortunately, I am not qualified. Although it does tempt me to, like, I don't know, just hire somebody to just do breaking. They can do it from their house. I'll just buy the product and see what kind of distribution. But I actually know somebody where I live who has a hobby shop, and they do have access to Topps distribution, but I think the consensus is that the pricing is not terribly favorable, and for the hot products, you're not really getting anything good, any quantity, so having distribution is not terribly useful unless you want to buy a lot of stuff that's pretty high priced, that's not going to sell very well. Dustin Pedroia egg. So at some point this card was worth like a good amount of money, but I think that's not true anymore. So anyways, I have no access through distribution to any products, and more to the point, it just, the whole Wander Franco thing has left such a bad taste in my mouth, and frankly Tatis too. Like, his stuff was so hot, and then he got, just suddenly decided to do steroids and, got banned from baseball for, what was it? So that's pretty cool. That's wow, I think that might be a 1 of 1. Yes. So, very cool. So that's a platinum parallel. I don't know. It's Jose Ramirez, who, is one of those kind of like unsung giants of baseball. He always has a good year. I think they probably really like him in Cleveland, where I think he still is. Although I might be wrong about that. I feel like maybe he moved off of Cleveland at some point. But anyways, always has a good year. Might have a fan following out there somewhere, but pretty cool to get a 1 of 1, I have to say. That's probably worth considerably more than the Voit Auto to 25. But yeah, not a great name. So yeah, I'm just not interested in, kind of acquiring sports cards of the modern era, and particularly really, so it's the Fanatics stuff and how they run distribution. It's the issues with players doing insane stuff that causes their cards to become worthless overnight. And it's also, I mean, if you pay any attention, you know that I've gotten huge into Pokemon cards. That was the last pack. Huge into Pokemon cards in the last year and a half. And I tell you what, folks, I can double my money in Pokemon in about 2 months. Very, very easily. So the idea of spending money on sports cards to hope that, the top players in whatever set don't, go commit federal felonies and or tear their ACL, UCL, whatever CL, it's just a no-brainer for me to focus on something that's, at least right now, just, much more lucrative, doing much better. It's frankly a lot more fun too, because there's many kind of things that are cool about Pokemon, and I guess other probably TCGs and stuff that don't apply to modern sports cards. And the thing is, I to the extent I am buying sports cards, which I am, but I'm buying older unsealed stuff. So earlier today I bought a sealed case of 1986 Donruss baseball wax boxes that are all FASC sealed, and I got a really good price on it, so it's kind of like an Insta profit situation. And I just feel like in 10 years that stuff is going to be, super desirable and very hard to come by. So, and nothing about, any player performance can change that. I mean, if people en masse sort of decide they hate old sports cards, then it certainly will, dampen the market. But I feel like that's unlikely to happen. It's actually more likely that a bunch of people who don't currently, collect older baseball cards but have an interest in it because they did it when they're kids and now they have money, or they just sort of see it as a worthwhile way to kind of spend their alternative investment dollars, so they kind of get involved. I feel like the odds of those things happening is actually quite a bit more than just everybody who currently collects old sports cards deciding they want to leave, or a significant portion of them. So anyways, that's kind of where I'm spending my time and effort, is on older sealed sports cards, older sealed non-sports cards. I do buy some modern non-sports cards because I just love non-sports cards for a lot of the reasons I, love Pokemon cards and old sports cards. So we'll continue doing that, and I will probably do box openings. I've got the Rittenhouse Foundation cards in stock now, and I ordered a kind of extra box to open on a video. So I'm actually trying to catch up on that show, because I'm only like a couple episodes into Foundation Series 2, and then when I get done with that, I'll open the box. So I have a better frame of reference for the autos that might come out of there, because you get 4 autos, which is awesome. So, alright folks, that's what we got for today. Many thanks, Jimmy. We'll get the other item you ordered on a video out here soon. Hope everybody's doing well. Please like and subscribe, and leave a comment with kind of what you're doing collecting-wise. Have you changed anything in the last 6 months? Are you, just kind of doing the same thing you were doing 3 years ago? Or, have you decided to collect Pokemon cards like myself? Alright, catch y'all later. Bye.